done two different ways. I've done my own creation, and I've done following a tutorial which uses the likes of behavior tree. However, I wasn't fully able to get this to work the way I wanted to, so I decided that it would be best to use my own. Now whenever it starts off, it finds the distance to the player, and then it makes a variable of this because it's to be used a lot further on, a lot more often. It also hides the alert system, the alert sign actually, to be displayed whenever the AI sees the player. After it does the distance to the player and makes the variable, it then does two different custom events. It does the it finds out if it can hear the player, or if it finds out if it's in the personal bubble of the player, of the AI. Whenever it does the can I hear the player, it's cast into the player to then find out the velocity, so whether or not he is moving, and then from this it can set him off. So if the player is moving and is moving at full speed, which is 600, then it knows that the player is moving. But if it isn't, then it knows that the player is standing still, because it is then below 10 velocity. This is then used later on. Then if the player is within 400 units to the AI, then it is able to be heard, but it is not going to be heard unless the player is moving in this time. So 400 units I've measured out to be this orange here. So if the player is in the orange and moving, then the AI will hear him. If the player is in the orange and not moving, or if the player is crouched, then the AI will not hear him, because its velocity is then less than what it needs to be, because 300 is what the velocity is at crouched. Then it plays a sequence of these two. It first goes off, and then it does the do once, and by this it then gets the player pawn's active location. So it finds out where the player is, and then sets this as a variable. It should then play a sound, but for some reason it isn't. I believe that might be because of location. I'll actually try to change that now. So that should play at the location of where the player was. So it finds out where the player was, and it waits 3 seconds. So then it's not following the player, but it's hearing him and then going to where he heard him. Then after this, it waits another 1.5 seconds to then move the AI, which is itself here, to the player's location of where he was. Then it will wait a second, and then it will reset the do once. After trying this here, if it can hear the player, it does the start alert if it's in the personal bubble of the player. If the player is within the personal bubble, which is 200 units, which I've measured out to be this blue, if the player is within that, and if he's not standing still, it will then set off the alert. If he is standing still, then it will not set off the alert. If the player is outside the bubble and it doesn't know, and then it won't alert. But the alert system is done via a number of ways. All of the custom events lead back to this one event. It is then a sequence of a do once, which then gets the location before the alert of the AI itself. And then this sets an alert variable which I've tried to be editable within other blueprints but isn't for some reason. It then will play the sound cue of the Metal Gear Solid alert. After doing this section, it's cut off and stopped, and then it continues on with the rest of the sequence. Because it has been alerted, this is set to on, so then it goes to true, and then does this. Then it continues up this way. They then do another do once, make sure that it double checks that it's alerted, because it should be trying to find them at this point. It unhides the alert sign, which then makes this appear, and then it does another do once, and then has been alerted. And this will only reset this bit whenever you get away from them. This will only reset when you reset the alarms. So then it continues on, he is alerted, and it sets the time to full of 10. And then because he has been alerted, it then starts the alert countdown. The alert countdown is the escape. So he has been alerted, that's set to on. And he is alerted as well. That's not, because he's not being alerted at the moment because he cannot see the player at this point, but he has been. So then it is continuing on. And then this is doing the keep. I've got this set up this way, so it delays a second and then does it again to make sure there's no extra frames that are taken away. It's another form of clamping just to be safe. So then after this it does the countdown of the escape. It gets the alert timer, which was set to full up here because he was seen up here, and then it takes away 1 every time this comes through for a second, and then it goes down to the minimum of 0. Whenever it hits 0, then this will continue on, and then that should be true. If it's not true, then he's still being seen, and it's still being alerted, still going through and playing this. But whenever it is true, that means he's gotten away and he's hidden from the AI now. So then the alert is disappeared and away from the actual AI. Again, these are 2 other variables I've tried to make editable within another blueprint and hasn't worked. Then I've tried it resets all the alarms so that it will be able to be alerted again. Though after the alert cooldown, it should continue on to this. Checks if he has been alerted, and then if he has been alerted and the alert cooldown's done, it should move him back to where he was. If this goes through, it should reset the hidden, and then it should move him back to the location before he was alerted. So he should be going back to where he was before he's seen the player. However, he doesn't do this for some reason, and I'm not too sure why. Again, for some reason the variables were not editable within other UMGs, for example, so I had to try it this way to make sure that it worked. Again, the countdown does work. I've done the exact same thing within the UMG, and it's counting down away, and then whenever it hits 0, it goes back to normal. So again, he shouldn't hear me if I'm crouched in here, so I should be able to move, as you can see. Though if I uncrouch, he'll hear me and then turn around. If I'm crouched, that's just the timer saying I can move on to the next bit, to the end of the game. If I crouch, again, another cutscene to show that the player can move on. If I move and make him come within, if I get in his bubble without moving, then as you seen there, I was in the bubble and I wasn't moving, so it wasn't alerted. But whenever I moved, then he's seen me and then I was alerted. As you can see in the top left, there's print string that allows the thing to go down. For some reason he doesn't return to where he was before he's seen me. Again, with the AI, it may not be 100% spot on because I have a path set for him to follow a patrol, though he keeps cutting back and forth and isn't able to finish the patrol. I've done branch statements to make sure that he shouldn't be able to continue his patrol if he spots me. As you can see, it gets from the actual blueprint, and then like I said, it isn't working for some reason, because it should just be continuing on, and that he is alerted at this point, so it shouldn't be doing anything.